Here we are back on board, and it's battery day today. So this is the big one. We're installing our lithium batteries. Well, first we got to build a lithium battery. So I bought these CALB cells, C-A-L-B, and they're a lithium ion, it's a LiFePO4 battery cell, and these CALB cells, the battery cell is inside this plastic box. So each cell is in its own battery box, which is really good. And we're going to build 4 of these in series to make 12 volts, and I've got 2 packs of them which will run in parallel. This is a really cheap option for fitting lithium batteries onto your boat, and it works out very comparable with AGM. You can have lithium for pretty much the same price as you can have an AGM battery, which sounds amazing. Now if you wander along and buy a ready-made lithium battery off the shelf, then it's going to cost you considerably more than your AGM amp hour for amp hour. But if you're prepared to build it yourself, the savings are huge. So I've got 4 cells here, and these 4 cells give me the same as 200 amp hours of lead acid battery, or AGM. So 2 100 amp hour AGM batteries is going to cost you several £100s, and these 4 cells were £260. I do have to put a battery management system with them, and so you can allow another 60 quid for that. We've got to do a bit of wiring and put a little bit of effort in, but it's quite an interesting and fun project anyway. And we're going to run through how we build our battery. And of course the great thing is, because we built it here on the boat, we know how it works, and we can replace individual cells. So if this cell goes wrong on us, we can take it out and put a new one in. So because it comes in kit form for us, and we made it out of all these components, it's easily repairable and replaceable. But this should have a full capacity life for at least the next 10 years, and after that it's not finished. Unlike the flooded lead acid or the AGM batteries, which when they get to their end of their life cycle, well, that's it, you're not getting much more out of it. Once we get to 10 years with these, they'll probably start to drop off a tiny bit, but if they still run at 90 or 80% capacity, that's pretty amazing. And of course the great thing with this lithium is that it gives you a stable voltage all the way through the discharge. So if you've got your batteries full and you start using them and you're not putting any charge into them, you're going to get the same voltage all the way along until they're empty, and then they just suddenly they're empty, a bit like a fuel tank. Whereas with lead acid, the moment you start using your flooded lead acid or your AGM battery, the moment you start using that, the voltage coming out and the amps available all start dropping, and they drop continuously. So it's not such a stable voltage. This is much more stable. It's miles better for all your electronics, better for everything. And of course, so these batteries are brilliant because you can fit them on their side, on their flat. You can fit them how you want. They can live permanently upside down in your boat. Whereas the technology that we've been using over the last few years, you had to be really careful to try and keep it, you really wanted it in a perfect world nearer the center of the boat and keep it just upright. You wanted the least amount of rocking movement on it. But these don't worry. They're not going to worry about whatever you do to them, pretty much. Another big advantage of these CALB cells over buying the ordinary, you've all seen probably on the internet, these LiFePO4 cells, these lithium iron phosphate cells, and they usually are wrapped in a sort of blue wrapping around the outside of each cell. Well, these probably are, but they're inside this box. And the joy of this is, I discovered one of my customers was talking to me and saying, oh, what sort of lithium batteries are you fitting? And I told him, and he's a guy that works in the aircraft industry, and he said, oh, we ran a lot of tests on lithium cells when we first started carrying them as freight, and the CALB cells were one of the few that we could not set on fire. Said they're really good bits of kit. So that was really nice. That's another bonus. So I mean, the only thing you have to be careful of is that you've got the pos and neg terminals on the top, and if this was a an AGM battery and a spanner fell across the top of them, there'd be a lot of flashing and the battery wouldn't be very happy, but there wouldn't be too much else going wrong. But with these, if you have a spanner fall across the top, they're going to give some millions of amps all the while until everything is destroyed, and you can have problems with the cell. So really you've got to be very careful about the terminals on the top and not shorting them out. After that, there's not much else. The only other thing that you need to be careful of is you mustn't start charging them if they're below freezing. They won't have that, but there's an easy solution. So if you think you're going to climates, say you're going to start heading a long way north, and you're going to climates where it's going to be very cold, then all you do is you need to fit some heaters. And the simplest heater that I've found is to get 2 pieces of aluminium and put between them the wing mirror heater for a lorry, for a truck mirrors. So if you get on the back of a truck mirror, they have a little heating element like the heated rear window in your car, and they're very cheap to buy. You sandwich it between 2 pieces of aluminium, you put it between each cell, and if it's below freezing, you just turn them on, bring the temperature of the batteries up above freezing, and then you can charge them. And it's a really cool way, an easy, cheap way of keeping them keeping them slightly warm. So let's get on with the build.